Hello, brothers. Going to a new book view. Going to mess with a little bit of that martial arts thing. Put a stop to a lot of stuff. I put one video out showing you just a little bit about sword fighting, or what they call knife fighting. But to get into it and really understand it, you need to go find someone like Davidseiwert, and or get certain people that's independent, like Dan Soto. Look up his son-in-law or his daughter. They know more about the stuff than most people in the Philippine art of using weapons like knives, sticks. But I'm looking at this one area here. This guy is on my Facebook, and he goes to the Philippine meetings sometimes about stuff, and he also trains cops. And he's also got his own schools. This is his book. Let's see if I can get that to shade a little bit different. You see what I'm saying? It's a good book. It teaches you all the basics about knife fighting or sword fighting. He's got something in there that everybody should always listen to, and it's what the law even knows. I give this book at least a 10 stars, meaning that's how good the book is. The drill was a self-defense training exercise to determine the medium distance that a police officer should safely allow between himself and an attacker before it was too late to be able to vanquish his own weapon and test the medium distance that can safely be allowed and how that can be. See, the law usually tells you that if a guy's got a knife and he's coming at you, it's usually 21 feet. And within 21 feet, that guy can actually put you down with about 30 or 40 stabs and about 15 slaps. Give it to you the way he's got it, it's a lot better. But it's 21 feet to 20 feet, but you can actually see how slow that is. It is determined on that test that they use, the 21 feet method, about knife fighting. It was found that an attacker could travel the distance of 21 feet in 1.5 seconds and deliver up to 22 stabs and 15 slashes before the cop could pull his gun. That's how deadly that knife is. They have retested it because this is an old book, and it is on Amazon. It's a great book. It teaches you a lot of stuff that cops uses. But the guy can do within 38th of a second, which is like 15 feet. He can slash you to pieces with a knife, or he can stab you to death with a knife. About 31, 41 stabs, unless you know what you're doing. I like the book because it shows you all the drills on how to go with the knife or against the knife. He's been in this business for way longer than most people would think. He's got over like 30 years of knowing about the ancient weapons of the Philippines, the Japanese, the Korean, the Thailand, Indo-Asia, and 12 years of teaching. He's one of the few guys who's actually, it knows the field of how South Asian people operate with weapons, and the way common people, which would be psychology of the people in America, meaning when you see guys running out the door with knives. That's why I recommend this book. It actually tells you how to get away from that person without getting chopped up. But he also shows you everything about sword fighting, or AK. And I said AK. Sword fighting is not fighting. It's dueling. How to block, how to parry, what tools to use as a shield. If you're in your house, what to do. It's a manual. But mainly he's got nothing but drills in here, how to get away from the knife in hand-to-hand combat. So he is pretty good. It's Empty Hand. He has another books out, which I give them 5 stars too, but most guys don't know about them, and it's the Karambit. These knives. The one I carry a lot sometimes. But I use mine for like ropes, herbs. I don't use mine for a weapon. If I had to, yeah, but 90-100, you don't see me doing that unless I have to. Call me a MacGyver if you want to, but I'm pretty accurate when I decide to do something. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to make sure it's mainly my hands. You can't trace my hands. You can trace blades and shit like that. But he's got, this book is a 5-star book. And one of the things, when you get books like this and you decide to learn the art and go by their drills properly, like 4 moves, do it for like 5 months, 8 hours, 3 times a week. Learn the first aid. That's the first thing I'm going to tell you, because this thing is not playing around. He does not lie about this shit. Dan Sono will tell you the same thing. You need to learn about basic stuff, but you better learn that first aid. And if you go to Soggy Dogs, Arnis, and Knife Fighting, there's one, I forget which one it is. He is a, what they call, Karambit. And he knows how to use it. And he goes straight into self-defense. He can tell you right off the bat, after you learn this self-defense, you're going to have to learn first aid. Every one of them tells you to go get first aid. Learn your books. The best thing about first aid books is learning this. Learn how to fight with something and not know how to fix someone is stupid. And a lot of cops will tell you the same thing. That's why when I tell you, give you a 5-star on about a secret of knife fighting and let you see the book, I want you to get this book right here, because this is what you're going to be needing. This actually gives you every little thing you need to know about first aid. And you don't know it, but they do have a chapter in there that actually shows you, and I said show you, how to stitch up somebody. Because when you get cut or stabbed, you got to know how to fix them. And that's what this book tells you. Everything he tells you, he keeps repeating the same thing. Learn your first aid when you're learning this. Because if you make a mistake, it can cost you 20 years or life in prison. But the book is a good book. It teaches you history, teaches you the way to block, the way to parry, the way to thrust, the way to slash, the way to turn, your footwork in it. Everything in the book is a drill. This is a 5-star book. But he's going to tell you to go to this. At the end of the book, that's the first thing he tells you. Go to it. Learn it. Learn how to sew yourself up. Because people will get cut. His other books that I've been looking at is this one right here. The Secret of the Karambit. You see the blade and all that. You don't really have to worry about it. It teaches you similar, the same thing about the 21 and 22 feet and the 19 feet distance. What happens when you get into that situation? Give them both 5 stars, which is actually 10 stars apiece. That will teach you everything you need to know about dueling with a knife, a real dueling knife fight. It shows you everything you need to know. And if you decide to pick up a sword, all you got to do is change the length, and you'll see the same techniques work. But I'm giving them a 5-star. You can find them books at Amazon. I got mine from David because it's David's book. He has his own associations. And then him goes to the Philippine Association. He goes to the Laotian Association. And he goes to the Thai and Hmong Mountain Yards of Southeast Asia. And I don't mind. He also knows Bobby Tomanaka, who is the last grandmaster in the United States who lives in North Carolina. Matter of fact, he lives in Matthews, North Carolina. And he's teaching the same Philippine martial arts. And me and him drinks beer together. So I don't have to really mess with anything. I can just go over and see Bobby Tomanaka, and me and him just be talking. Most of the time it's old age stuff and what old people talk about. I love listening to history. But if you want to learn, that's what you got to do. Matt Shad can do the same thing. If I was Matt Shad, I'd get this book if I'm going to teach something. And unless I'm qualified, so I got everything I need to teach. But I'm not pushing violence. I'm giving a book review of 10 stars for his 2 books. This one, Secret and Empty Hand of Knife Fighting, and his book on the Karambit. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't use this. You'll end up cutting yourself all to pieces. You wasn't raised with that kind of knife. And you ain't no carpenter. And I mean an old carpenter. These new carpenters, y'all get box cutters. But that's a 5-star review. It's a good prepper book for self-defense. But even he, in his book, will tell you to go get this book right here. And the reason is this right here. Put this video on pause. You can read every one of them. That's the reason why he says about this book. And he's teaching knife, and I'm giving his 5 stars to a 10-star. And this is David's book. And you need to know his name. Right there it is. Both his books, I give them a 10 because we know each other. Talk to you later, and I'm getting ready to do another video somewhere else. Right now I'm pissed off at somebody who did something he didn't supposed to do, and it's still bugging the hell out of me. I gotta figure that out. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.